Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Imagination Station podcast. I hope you guys are having a great day. I wanted to firstly thank you all for the wonderful feedback I've been getting. You guys are amazing. Today, we're going to be talking about reality shifting and daydreaming. So this is going to be a little bit of a new topic, but for those who are experienced daydreamers, I think you might find this interesting. Today we're going to be talking about reality shifting and how it compares to daydreaming. I found out about this from my friend Katie a while ago, who had compared it to maladaptive/immersive daydreaming. I might just start calling it MI for maladaptive immersive daydreaming, so like MI daydreaming, just to shorten it. If you don't already know what reality shifting is, it's the process in which shifters may take themselves to an alternate reality. In reality shifting, you can insert yourself into an alternate reality through precise planning and meditation. This was posted on November 16, 2020 on the Huntington News. Every article I mention will be in the description. Almost every article I found about reality shifting is talking about how it's been blowing up on TikTok, etc. But today I'm going to be talking about one of the most popular methods of reality shifting and how it compares and contrasts to daydreaming. I'd really like to hear your opinion on this as well. So as we know, maladaptive/immersive daydreaming is the process in which people create their own paracosms/daydreaming worlds/alternate realities. To focus on these worlds without losing immersion, some of us pace, some of us listen to music, some of us lie down or sit completely still. Everybody daydreams differently. But one of the most popular methods in reality shifting is called the Raven method. The Raven method, here it says, the Raven method requires laying down on the ground. I don't think it has to be the ground because my friend does it from her bed, but it's basically where you lie down in a starfish position, counting down from 100 while desiring the reality you want to shift into. Apparently a super popular reality on TikTok is traveling to Hogwarts and being Draco Malfoy's girlfriend. This was found on Yahoo, again links in description. So far, this pretty much just sounds like daydreaming, but the goal of reality shifting is to move your dream into the subconscious, basically like lucid daydreaming. Or, sorry, I said that wrong. It's basically like lucid dreaming. So out of curiosity, I posted a poll on Instagram asking my followers if they've ever tried to have a lucid dream about their paracosm, and I'll read the results at the end of the video. My theory is that most people will answer yes, which in that case we can safely say that reality shifting is pretty starkly similar to something daydreamers try to do anyways, which I think is pretty cool. There are some questions popping up about reality shifting, like, is it safe? Is it real? Which, like, yeah, you're just trying to dream about something. You're trying to, like, create a lucid dream for yourself. Maybe just don't lie on the floor where, like, your cat can jump on you or the door can hit you. But, like, in this community, we already know that people can immerse themselves into a desired reality. And it's very common, and more people do it than people know, which is why spreading awareness for immersive/maladaptive daydreaming is really important. It seems like people who don't have a name for it yet are trying to explain it in new and slightly different ways. Kind of like I've talked about this before. Before I knew what daydreaming was, me and my friend Karen, we used to call it IPV, which was like imaginative psychogenic vision, because we realized, oh my god, we do this daydreaming thing, there has to be more people who do it, let's make a name for it, because at the time there was no way we could look it up or figure out what the name for maladaptive daydreaming is. So I wonder if reality shifting is just like another way to explain maladaptive daydreaming. I still think reality shifting is valid with a different purpose, specifically lucid dreaming. But I wonder if these people are just in their room daydreaming about dating Draco Malfoy, or if they're just having an immersive daydream. If they daydream a lot about this, wouldn't that make them an immersive daydreamer, and also if they can't stop thinking or daydreaming about Draco Malfoy to the point where they can't focus on school or work in general and just start feeling dissociated, wouldn't that just make them a maladaptive daydreamer with their paracosm just taking place in Hogwarts?
Power. That just sounds
Maladaptive Daydreaming.
with extra steps.
Ooh la la, someone's gonna get laid in college.
The reality shifting community isn't widely liked either, or by everybody. One person asked if the Raven method was dangerous, to which someone responded, "It's completely bogus. It's as bad or worse than seances and Ouija boards. There's no such thing as reality shifting. You're either rationally aware of reality around you, or you're hallucinating and no longer in touch with reality, becoming a lethal danger to yourself and everyone around you." Like, holy shit, dude. These kids are just trying to have a dream about dating a movie character. Like, I know that's not always the case, and everybody has different alternate realities they want to go to, but like, fuck. Just to set the record straight, it's totally possible to be unaware of reality around you for a certain amount of time without being a danger to society or hallucinating. One of the biggest things I say on here is that some psychiatrists misdiagnose maladaptive daydreaming with schizophrenia because it's not clarified enough that the person knows the world they put themselves in isn't real, or the psychiatrist just hasn't learned about the psychological phenomenon yet. Which again, giving psychotics to a person who isn't psychotic can actually give the person the problem the medication is there to fix, which is why there's no medication for maladaptive daydreaming. I really don't know how this person jumped from pretending to being completely lethal, but okay, go off. A better answer for this is when one person asked, "Is it safe?" To which someone responded with, "Shifting is 1,000,000% safe. There are no evil spirits involved in the process. The people saying that demons will come to you are just trying to scare you. Shifting isn't dangerous, and it's fine to script relationships. It's not forced." I like this answer because basically what you're doing is scripting a movie-like scenario and playing it out in your head with hopes of dreaming about where you want to be. I'm positive that there are maladaptive daydreamers out there who have a paracosm about dating Draco Malfoy. Like, there has to be at least a couple people. Not to call anyone out, but like, I know you're out there. With daydreamers, we've spent months or years building up this world that we go to frequently and don't have to be sleeping to see it. Personally, certain songs will just yeet me into a scenario I've built around that song. For example, whenever I listen to Communicate With Me by Girlwood, whenever that pops up on my playlist, I'll just think about this scenario I built around that song where it's my Paris Aiden's birthday and he set up like a mini concert in his backyard and sang the song, with the lyrics of the song having a completely different meaning than what I'm sure the singer wrote it for. And I usually end up crying when I hear that song because of that scenario. When I'm there, and I don't need to be sleeping or lucid dreaming to be able to feel like I'm there, which probably is what contrasts maladaptive immersive daydreaming to reality shifting. So let's go back to the poll I posted on Instagram. I asked, have you ever tried to have a lucid dream about your paracosm? To which 66 people said yes and 47 people said no, making that 58% to 42, which is pretty fascinating. So I started writing this script yesterday, but I don't know if the thought of reality shifting with my paras was stuck in my head because of, writing this podcast episode, or what, but like when I went to sleep last night, I had this like insane dream with like one of my paras, and I couldn't fucking believe it when I woke up. Like, I tried to go back to sleep 3 times just to be there again. And like, it was amazing. And I wasn't even trying to like have a shifted reality dream. I can only remember like 3 times where my paras were there in my dream. Twice with Aiden and now one with X, who is one of Aiden's best friends. If you're interested in hearing about my paracosm dreams, that's what the rest of this podcast is going to be about. So I'm going to explain these dreams and talk about them. I'm sure they're not the same as reality shifting because I wasn't intentionally trying to like have a lucid dream about my parents, but I think the thought of like dreaming about your parents, especially parents who don't exist, which I'll get into that, is like pretty cool. So if you're interested in that, that's what I'm going to be talking about. The first thing I want to say before talking about the dream specifically with my parents is that it's technically scientifically proven that we can't make up faces in our dreams. The boredpanda.com says, our mind is not inventing faces in our dreams. We see real faces of people we have seen during our life, but may not know or remember. We have all seen hundreds of thousands of faces throughout our lives, and we have an endless supply of characters for our brain to utilize during our dreams. So basically what that's saying is that when we sleep, we don't, just like you might see a stranger in your dream, but it's not really a made-up face that your brain just created. It's someone you may have seen while you were passing down the street. Or it may have been someone that you've seen while you passed down the street and you walked next to them and like completely forgot about it. Then like 2 years later, you have a dream and that person's there. But your brain didn't make it up. They actually just took that face from somebody else you saw. Now with that in mind, my parents are not real people on this earth, but obviously they're humans. I know what they look like. Aiden's 5'6" and a half. He's skinny. He's a white boy who's a mix of Italian and European with shoulder-length blonde hair and blue eyes. X is like 5'8", light-skinned Puerto Rican Cuban with long black hair and brown eyes. Dalen, who's Aiden's boyfriend, is 6'4". He's a white guy with hazel eyes and short brown hair, and he's originally from the UK. They all have faces, obviously, but there's no one who looks just like them. There's no one who looks just like you, unless you have a twin. I could tell you Aiden has a face similar to Troye Sivan, or like Dalen kind of looks like he could be Daniel Howell's kid, but like obviously they aren't the same person. And if you put them next to each other, you could clearly see the difference. I've been trying to make realistic portraits of them for years because I like to draw portraits of people, but drawing is hard enough, and it's harder to get all the little details right, especially when I can't just pull up a picture of them. My point is, my brain basically made these faces from scratch, and I've spent years imagining vividly all the little details in their face that make them unique. So I low-key did what science says you can't do, and I made a face that I've never actually met. But it did take me some time. For example, when I saw this boy on my For You page on TikTok, I could show you a clip. He looks just like Aiden, like he could be his doppelganger. I literally couldn't dream right for like the next couple weeks because his face kept popping in my head instead of Aiden's, because they look so similar. But of course they still don't look exactly the same. They have like the same eyes and a similar jaw structure, but like Aiden's face is longer, his lips are a little bit different, etc., etc. Now onto the dreams. I said previously that this has only happened a couple times, none of it intentionally, but I do have very vivid dreams, and I almost always remember what I dream about when I wake up the next morning. So you can imagine how I feel after spending hours with my parrot in my literal dream and my sleep. And it really does hit differently than a normal daydream you kind of have to work for when you're awake. The first dream I ever had with my own paras was I was switching in between the first and third point of view of Aiden. I was him, and then I was kind of looking at him from like an outside view. And basically Aiden got on this industrial looking elevator, and Aiden was seeming a bit off, like almost anxious. He pressed the button for the top floor, and when he got there he was like on the roof, and there were like 3 people waiting for him. They were dressed weirdly or differently, and I think one of them was like wearing a plague mask or a gas mask, and I'm not even sure if they were like supposed to represent death or like some sort of spirits or whatever, but like all I remember was Aiden walking up to them slowly and being like, "So you're here to kill me, right?" And they like stayed silent and they didn't touch him and let him go, to which he turned around and went back down the elevator. Like crazy, right? when I woke up, I was fucking shook by the whole dream. I couldn't believe I had a dream with Aiden in it. And one of the first things I thought was like, holy shit, I had a dream about someone who I've never seen with my eyes in physical reality. This was like after analyzing what that dream could have meant for me and him, being like, it was kind of grim with like the dark industrial atmosphere and like the dark cloudy sky. It was just kind of a grim dream. And if I could control the dream, I would like give him the world on a silver platter. Like I would like have Aiden like just chilling in a mansion, and I'd like serve him like strawberries and whipped cream or something. I don't know. I don't know. But like obviously I wasn't in control of these dreams at all. But I've only had one lucid dream, like an actual lucid dream where I knew I was dreaming. And all I can remember was like I was sitting on the doorway of like this white gymnasium, and my therapist was sitting across from me. And she just looks at me and she goes, "You know you're dreaming, right?" And I was like, "Wait, really?" And then I like kind of felt that my eyes were closed, but like I was in this gymnasium, and I was like, holy fucking shit, I'm dreaming! I'm dreaming! That was a little too loud. And like I kind of got really excited, and then everything started fading out because I was waking myself up from the excitement. So not that impressive, but totally stunned me at the time. The second dream I had with Aiden in it, I ran into him, and I think Dalen was there too, but I don't remember too much. I just remember that Aiden's body and face for the most part was really realistic, but his eyes in this one didn't seem like real. They kind of looked like a drawing, but I still felt like it was him, and I kind of followed him around like a lost puppy. And at some points he looked a bit more realistic, especially when he was like turning away and stuff, but I was just kind of in shock that I was with him, and I was just kind of like happy to be there. Speaking of which, I did actually have one other dream with someone who kind of represented Aiden. This is a little bit more weird. It was actually way before either of the other dreams I just told you about. So I was like in this school and lost, and there was like this shorter, chubbier guy, and he wasn't even white. He kind of had more of a golden espresso skin tone like me, but like with this really light blonde wig on. And I did a double take, and I asked if he was Aiden, and he kind of didn't say anything, but I could kind of tell it was my brain's way of imagining him, like a rough draft, because this was the first dream where I ever like thought of Aiden, because I've never really thought of my parents while I was dreaming. It always has something to do with me. Maybe it was like my brain's way of telling me I was trying to be him, but I couldn't because I have darker skin, or I don't know. I feel like at some point I felt insecure because Aiden's like really beautiful and I'm not Aiden. Also, when I was a kid, people used to pick on me for my skin color. They said I looked like a burnt popsicle. Like, what the fuck? So maybe it was like that, maybe not, I don't know. Anyways, back to the dream. So I was like lost in the school, and he beckoned me to follow him. So I did. I think I like grabbed his hand, and I was just like walking behind him. And I was kind of like thinking like, this dude has a wig on. But anyways, he led me out of the school, and I don't remember the rest because this was a long time ago. But I'm gonna take some water. BRB. I need to drink water. My voice is getting raspy. But yeah, I don't remember the rest because it was a little long ago. Now, the last dream I'm going to tell you about is the one that I actually had last night with X. And for a little bit of background, for those of you who haven't seen my video where I was talking about my parents and their stories, I have a lot of respect for X because he saved Aiden's life multiple times in the past and went out of his way to help him. Like, many times. He grew up in a neighborhood like me, so I have different personal attachments to X, and I can relate to him in a different way than other people in my daydreams. Like Aiden, for example, who lived in a middle-class family with both of his parents in a suburban neighborhood, which I don't really know none about personally. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I don't know if I had to dream about my parents because I spent my day writing the script for the podcast about reality shifting. I don't know if I had that dream because I was writing about reality shifting, but it totally happened, and I woke up shook because it was so realistic. So in my dream, I was in this 2-story house, and I was on the bottom floor, and this lady, I think it was my aunt, told me X was upstairs. So naturally, I immediately walked up the stairs and started calling for him, going like, X? Xavier? X? And then I heard him from one of the rooms, so I walked in and he was like spray painting this detached car bumper and asked me if I wanted to help. So I said yes, and I helped him pick it up and spray it down. And I don't know why, but there was just something so immaculate about like helping him fix this car bumper so casually, like we were just two normal friends. It made me have like this longing for connection when I woke up. Later we were walking around with my aunt in this like grassy field, and I think we were avoiding some people, I don't know what, but we got into her car and her friend sat in the front and she was driving, and me and X were sitting in the back of her car, and I think like I had like all my stuff in the back of the car, like I was moving and I like hadn't taken out my shit from the car, but yeah, so we were sitting in the back and talking, and at some point he just laid down on my chest, and I was trying so hard to stay still and just let him like chill there. And I was like really anxious not to fuck anything up. So at some point we got to this restaurant, and neither my aunt or my aunt's friend had masks, but I think I had like 3. So I handed them both my masks, and I instinctively went to give X my last mask, and I was just gonna like tie a shirt around my face or something. But he said he already had one. So I said, oh, thank God, because that was my last one anyways. Like, we love X being prepared. Not to mention, COVID did not happen in my paracosm. I did not incorporate that into my daydreams because I didn't want my parents to deal with that shit. But honestly, they could handle it because they're not Trump-supporting idiots and would follow safety guidelines. But now this dream has really got me thinking about it. Like, I'm not gonna do it, girl. I'm just thinking about it. I'm sorry. Anyways, these are all the dreams I've had so far about my parents, and I hope you found them interesting. I have to say, by far, the one with X was my most realistic dream of my parents, besides the one I had with Aiden in the elevator. I love seeing their dreams. I love seeing their faces in my dreams at night, because like you don't really realize that you're like hanging out with your parents until you wake up. They're just like a really good dream you don't want to wake up from, at least for me. And if you want to see them when you're awake, you have to like consciously imagine it, like, which is still great, but it hits differently because you're kind of more in control than just like a dream that's like playing out. I really hope in the future I can have more dreams with them and I can talk with them. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'd like genuinely hope that like when I die, I can be with them like in my dreams, where I'm not controlling their actions and we can just like hang out as separate people. Like, I never once in my life imagine X just like fixing a car bumper. Like, I know he's good with cars, but like I never really thought about that. But like it was just so cool to like just be there. Oh wait, I actually did have another dream with my parents in it. So in this one, I walked into Aiden's family home and his mom was there, who Aiden takes after, but that's unrelated. She had pink hair and I was just kind of like raving about her hair, just being like, oh my God, your hair's so pretty. Cause like I have a thing, whenever I see somebody in public with pretty hair, I like have to tell them that their hair's pretty, especially if it's like colored. Like I will go out of my way to walk up to them. Like, and I'm like not an extrovert, but like I have to compliment people. I work at like Publix, so I just like have like a compliment quota I like to make. But yeah, so I was telling her how pretty her hair was, and then she said something along the lines of like, "You're family now." And then I woke up. Like, I swear, my dreams be trying to fucking make me cry sometimes. Like, as if I wasn't an unadopted orphan. I didn't need to go through that trauma of being told I was a part of a family and waking up. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was really nice. But I did have an alternate reality where Aiden was kidnapped at birth and grew up in the foster care system. And after the people who took him to raise him were both put in prison, after CPS realized they didn't have a birth certificate for him and obviously weren't his parents, he grew up in foster care in another state, thinking that his original parents just didn't want him and gave him away. Then when he started making music online, he started getting more popular, and people realized that he was probably his parents' missing child, because he had a twin brother who still lived with his parents, and people realized he looked exactly the same as his twin. So he flew out and they took a blood test and it came back positive that he was their child. So he moved in with them at the age of 16. So I don't know if like that dream was kind of related to that alternate reality, or if it has to do more with me, because when I was growing up in foster care, I had a caseworker who would throw letters and presents like gift cards from my own family in the trash, and the system would like block anyone who was related to me from speaking to me on my mom or my dad's side, which is like fucked, because like I grew up thinking my family wanted nothing to do with me and didn't care that I was in foster care until I became an adult and moved in with my aunt and met my family on my dad's side for the first time. And almost everyone told me they would try to contact me and they would try and try again, but my caseworker would just like wouldn't answer their calls or would just be generally rude. At some point my aunt told me that she couldn't adopt me, but she would try to send me gift cards and presents and letters. And my caseworker apparently told her that if you don't love Jazzy enough to adopt her, you don't love her enough to send her gift cards, and like would just fucking take the gift cards. And I'd never get them or heard about them, and nobody ever told me that people had tried to call me, which is like insane, because I should have the right to know if anybody in my family is trying to get into contact with me. But like, it was insane. I couldn't believe how many people actually wanted to get to know me, and it still upsets me that I had to wait until like I was an adult and moved in with my aunt and met these people for the first time, that like they all wanted to get to know me. It like, the fact that I could have had a relationship with my family from an early age while I was still in the system. But like, in case you didn't know, the American foster care system is fucked up in general. That was like a grim place to end the video, but yeah, so I don't know if that dream was more of like me wanting a family, or like if I had to do with Aiden, because technically it was Aiden's mom, but I thought that was interesting too. But yeah, these are all the dreams I've ever had about my parents. If you found this video interesting, leave a thumbs up or a comment. Let me know if you guys have ever had a dream about that, or if you've ever tried reality shifting. But yeah, have a great day and safe dreaming, everybody.